Yep, I'm fluent now. I never paid attention to the two most dangerous words in our business, live microphone.
Mics are hot. Jiff, let me see.
Did you send this out?
I did. I tweeted it. Oh, no, I'm in the process of tweeting it out. Give me a second. I'm trying to be creative here. Damn it, where the hell's my Jiff? This is not good. Okay, maybe it's in the hearted area. To be strong at your Jiff game, Dave, it takes a lot of work.
Everybody has much better GIFs than I do, Omar. I can't even. I can't settle on the pronunciation, much less finding them, the good ones.
That's a good point. You make a very good point there. I think I'm going to drop the GIF, the desire to have a GIF here. Strangely enough, it's, favorites, boom. Let's see. Come on. I know we're here. All right, nope, cancel it. No GIF. Okay, there it is. And let me put it on Facebook. Oh, we're a minute late.
We're waiting for you to tweet, Omar.
I know. It's an important thing, Dave.
You used to be the mad tweeter. You've backed off that. You still tweet a lot, but nothing like your opening years of tweeting, right?
Yeah. I've kind of lost interest. It's good. It's good. It's got its good and its bad, but it's like, I'll.
You used to. Well, I put my left foot first. That was a tweet for you, right? You know, as you're walking. Now my right foot. You would tweet a lot. You would tweet. You get in
Twitter battles.
Twitter battles.
Yeah. No point in that anymore. All right, we're ready.
Yeah.
Welcome to another week of X's and Omar in the final month of the season. This is our final lap of the year, right?
This is it. We better get better because the Dolphins aren't going to get better for us.
Listen, this season has been painful, interesting, but painful. And Omar Kelly here with Dave Hyde, Sentinel columnist, to break down what do we have? The Giants this week and last week's loss to the New York Jets, which kind of. It's odd that I don't know how to feel about that loss because you watch a young guy like Nick Needham, who I call superstar, love him. Superstar. It's playing.
It's playing. I get it. It's playing.
It's playing off this Dean Brian Flores kind of beef where he basically.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. I mean, but people don't get it. But it's an inside joke. But I like Nick Needham. Think about that from Nick Needham's perspective. He gets a broken up pass in the end zone that is overturned, turned into a touchdown, and then the game-costing pass interference call, which was initially called a no call, all of a sudden gets overturned, becomes a pass interference. 2 plays made by Nick Needham that cost the Miami Dolphins the game, which he initially made.
Which is good news, though. It's good news.
Yeah.
You don't want to win that game. You do not want to win that game.
Yes.
Which is the whole conflict of the season. That's the whole problem.
I went into the game.
I hate this season.
I went into the game, and I said this last week in X's and Omar, there's no reason why you shouldn't win 2 of the next 3 games. They're all winnable games. You will be a competitive team. They're all winnable games. And then the reality hit me.
I was going to say, and then I said, why would you want to win 2 of these 3
Then reality hit me because Safid Dean is sitting there, and he's charting where they fall if they win this game and what's happening in the week. And he's like, okay, lose this game, and they could potentially move to 3. This is in like the third quarter. Potentially move to 3, depending on what happens with the Giants and what happens with the other team. Oh, Dave.
Oh, rookie mistake.
Yeah. But then what happened was he calculated what happens if they win. He's like, they'll potentially fall to 9 or 10th in the draft.
But this has been going on all year, Omar. All year. Why? Look, this is the conflict of the season, and it's why I hate this season, and it's a conflict inside the Dolphins, too. You have the team set up to lose. I mean, they just claimed, and I get it. I get what they did. They claimed 9 guys off the waivers in the last week.
Last 2 weeks, yes.
Last 2 weeks. And I get that. I get what they're doing. But then when you say, oh, they're not really trying to win, they get really upset. The coaches get really upset. And I'm like, well, no, there's a great conflict out there.
The reality of this season is Chris Greer is intentionally working against Brian Flores.
Right.
Brian Flores is intentionally working against Chris Greer.
And yet they're working hand in hand.
Yes.
So you explain all that to me, and how could you not feel conflicted watching this season play out?
It's odd to watch. It's definitely odd to cover. But as I continue to say, this season reminds me so much of 2011, where
No.
why?
They were
Why not?
trying to win in 2011.
Yes, they were doing it for Tony and then doing it for
yes.
Todd Bowles.
The front office was trying to win. The team was trying to win. Everybody was in unison and trying to win.
Okay.
Now, what would it have mean to beat the Jets? Seriously. I mean, you got the Jets, Le'Veon Bell's bowling the night before, and a career-high 251, as he told reporters, while he was sick and not playing Sunday because he was sick. He's quarantined. I mean, seriously, would it mean anything if a field goal had missed at the end and the Dolphins win? Would it have meant anything at all? No, it would have just said.
It would have just dropped them to ninth in the draft.
Yeah.
It's an odd year, but these conflicting things we have to discuss, Dave.
All right, let me ask the first question to you, Omar. Mitchell Babka wants to know, I know you called off the tank, Omar.
I did.
But wouldn't continuing to lose bring more value to the team than winning would? The difference between picking 4th and number 12 is significant. No?
He is right.
Bring back the tank, Omar. Call it back on. Come on, call it out. Bring it back. Say you want the tank.
I need the tank.
We want the fish tank. We want the dunk tank.
Listen,
we want Tank McNamara.
It's hard when you look at the standpoint of, okay, one, I believe, and you've said this before, good teams, doesn't matter where they draft.
Right. Look, no matter where you draft, the number one requirement, unless an Andrew Luck is there, is just being smart. That's the number one thing. It's like when talent evaluators pick somebody, their number one requirement for a player is intelligence.
Sometimes,
well,
yeah,
there
should.
are exceptions.
The good ones, yes.
There are exceptions. Like,
I'm with you. If I look at the span of the course of my career covering the Dolphins, and it has been a decade, it's been quite interesting putting together the all-decades team for the Sun Sentinel, which will come out next week, I believe.
That must have been a chore.
Oh, God, it was horrible. It was horrible. It was
the team that's never won a playoff game in the decade.
God. It was horrible. When you look at this the draft history, Christian Wilkins, Laramie Tunsil, Minka Fitzpatrick, Charles Harris, Devontae Parker. Need I say more? Must I carry on? Yeah.
Please don't, Omar.
And there's no shame in what they're doing. But I could tell you right now, let's just say if Preston Williams was still healthy, he'd probably be the top rookie on this team, and he's an undrafted talent. Draft picks.
Is that good or bad, Omar?
It's just the way that it's been.
No, but is that good or bad that an undrafted guy is better than you spent months and money? The Dolphins are sending 2 scouts to practically every game, at least 2. They sent 3 to the Alabama and LSU. All that money investment picking players, and there's such little impact at this draft class.
Yeah, this draft class has been a little bit underwhelming. We're talking about Christian Wilkins, who I think is just a guy. No offense.
So far.
So
but he's a defensive tackle, asked to play 2 gap. We're not making conclusions here.
Michael Dieter has been up and down, inconsistent, got benched last week.
That's scary. That is scary. That scares me.
I wrote a column about it.
He comes from the University of the
Wisconsin.
offensive line.
That was the safest pick you can make.
A guard from Wisconsin.
Started more games than every player in Wisconsin
That's like
history.
saying Edie and Sonny in South Florida, right? I mean,
Yeah. That's supposed to be a lock. He got benched.
That's scary.
That's scary. So draft picks aren't necessarily going to, being higher, being lower, it never stopped the Philadelphia Eagles from getting Carson Wentz. Good teams make it happen. And I'm not saying that the Dolphins are a bad team, but I'm certainly not telling you that they're a good team.
Well, they're an awful team. Come on, Omar. Our next question comes from John G. If Parker and Wilson can't play next week, who do you see the Dolphins depending upon more in their passing game?
Oh, this is an easy one. You just look at who produced for them on the field last week. Isaiah Ford, who is a guy he's impressed me in practices. He's never really impressed me in games until last week, and I still say there's room
He's been
for
hurt
growth.
A lot, right?
Yes, he gets hurt all the time. He is
the
Devontae Parker Jr. When he gets hurt, he disappears. But when he's healthy, he's good. And I think that he has a future as a slot receiver. One thing after the game that blew my mind, Dave, just absolutely blew my mind, was Ryan Fitzpatrick's admission that I go to Isaiah Ford when I can't remember or don't understand something about our playbook. And so do the coaches.
That's amazing. A 17-year quarterback or 15-year quarterback, 37 years old.
Harvard graduate.
Harvard graduate. But half the Harvard graduates are in the bottom half of their class, right? So they can't be that smart, right?
If they just got in, Dave.
Okay, but here's a quarterback going to a guy who's barely played. Now, what we might be calling him is Coach Isaiah Ford coming up, it sounds like, right?
Definitely. I've always liked him. We have in the media contingent, we have this thing with running joke with Saf. That's his guy.
He likes him.
That's his guy. So anytime Isaiah does something, Saf is popping his collar. Well, he got a lot to pop his collar. He had a career game, 6 receptions for 92 yards. That's certainly a player that you have to
Let me answer the question. They don't have anybody to go to. Okay, there's no go-to player for
Did they
Ryan
have anybody to go
Fitzpatrick.
to before the injuries?
Right. Well, they had Devontae Parker, who's having a good year.
Yeah.
And no, that was it. That was it. So
I will say this: a player that they claimed last week, Mac Hollins, was on my man crush list. A former 4th-round draft pick in 2015.
This Sunday, Omar, they're not going to.
Listen. Think about the amount of players.
I will walk into the ocean with my clothes on if he has a big impact on this game.
Oh boy, you heard it here
He just
first.
played him off the waiver wires, Omar.
You heard it here
in
first.
December.
How many players have they claimed off the
December,
waiver wire that have played and contributed games, Dave?
I said major impact, which I
Well,
will leave
define
as
major
to my
impact.
definition.
Come on, 50 yards. Give 50 yards.
Luke Fader asks, why don't the Dolphins run more out of power formations?
I don't know. It's old school football, which I love. I think it works.
You know, Omar.
No, I don't
you
know,
why.
Dave. I don't know, Dave.
They don't. Who are they going to run out of these power formations?
Patrick Laird.
Omar.
Patrick Laird's giving you 80 yards last week. He's giving you 90 total yards this week. Yeah, the run game is a little inconsistent, a little problematic.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, again, was your leading rusher. Again.
He will finish the season as the team's leading rusher,
That
which
is
is sad.
He absolutely. Now, it's a short jump. I think he has 173 yards. He's got to get to 201.
He has 186 yards.
186. He has to get to 201.
He's going to lead the team by Sunday.
I got to look this up. When's the last time a quarterback led a team in rushing in the NFL? Well, Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson, Michael Vick,
Okay,
it happens a lot in the NFL. But I like Chandler Cox. Now, he suffered an injury during the game. I don't know what it was. But I think that they need to play him more. I'm not saying playing 30 snaps a game, but he should have a 15-play package. There's no reason he should end the season without a reception. Like Chandler Cox can actually play.
I think he dropped a couple, didn't he? I believe
know.
he was a great receiver in college.
He was okay receiver. No, you're thinking about Kalen Lodge.
That's it. I'm thinking of Kalen Lodge.
Yeah,
it's all running together to me.
Yeah, all the mediocrity is running together. Wes Snow asks, Jets won, but who really has a better team going forward? Let me begin this by saying this. Me and Chris Perkins, my former colleague who now works for The Athletic.
Colleague, yeah.
Yes. We had a conversation because we were talking. I said, hey, the Dolphins should win this game. He's like, no, the talent is supposedly superior. And we created a baseline. Name the players who would start on at least 5 other NFL teams on either team, the Jets and the Dolphins. We came up with 9 for the Dolphins and 10 for the Jets.
9 Dolphins
that
will
were
start
playing
on any team?
We'll start on at least 5 other NFL teams.
Oh, 5.
That we said would.
I mean the bottom 5 teams?
Yes, the bottom 5.
Oh.
Name.
Here's a better question. Put these rosters together. Do they come within 20 points of a struggling Patriots team?
No.
No. So these are 2 awful teams. I mean.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, let's face it.
They're in the conversation with the Buffalo Bills.
Who?
To put them together. put those two teams together. Yeah,
No.
Here's what I will say the Jets have over the Dolphins. They have a young quarterback that might be somebody.
You know the scary thing, and you look at what Ryan Tannehill is doing in Tennessee, and it scares me now, if I'm the Jets, that Adam Gase is working with Sam Darnold. Because I'm wondering what is going on here. This guy is supposed to be a great quarterback coach, and Ryan Tannehill took off.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
And an offensive coach.
What Ryan Tannehill learned in the last 3 years has helped him elevate himself and has helped him get to this point.
Oh, you're kidding. All of a sudden, it just kicked in year 4.
Kicked in year 8. Listen, we'll discuss that later, but I think the Jets have a superior team. One, because they have stars on that team. I'm not saying that Sam Darnold is a star.
Future, not team, future. Who has the better future?
I still say the Jets.
I'd say the Dolphins, only from this standpoint. The Jets aren't working. They are not working. Whatever they did, they brought in big money players, and it's not working.
It's not working.
And they've spent their money. They've spent their draft picks. The Dolphins at least have draft picks and a lot of money. They haven't made the mistakes that the Jets have yet. They might coming up, but they haven't made them yet.
That's fair, accurate, and transparent. Le'Veon Bell, Jamal Adams, those are 2 Pro Bowl talents on their team. Name me the Pro Bowl talent other than Xavier Howard on this team.
Well, is Le'Veon Bell on the team? Is
yes.
he on? He's bowling on a Saturday night. He's not on the team.
Bowling.
He
was quarantined.
When you're supposed to be playing football, bowling isn't.
They told him to stay away. He had the flu.
Omar. He had the flu.
No. I've been in those situations.
He bowled a 251. You can't bowl a 251 with the flu, can you?
I don't know. But he's a professional athlete. I'm assuming bowling isn't that hard for him. It's 20 times up a lane. It's not like you're getting hit by a 300-pound defensive tackle.
You're going to have Dick Weber calling you here in a second.
Yeah.
All right. This franchise has undergone a major transformation in one season, and the hope is they have taken a step forward as a franchise, becoming a perennial playoff contender. Are we talking about the Dolphins?
Yes.
Okay, all right, I'm just checking.
That is the goal. Steve Ross's goal.
Could patient have taken this franchise where it wanted to go? In other words, Ryan Tannehill's having a phenomenal season with Tennessee Titans. He's on the verge of leading to the playoffs. He's led the Titans to a 6-1 record. He leads the league in passer rating right now. How good could this team have been with Tannehill, Juwan James, Kenny Stills, Robert Quinn, Laramie Tunsil, Fitzpatrick, Wake, Alonzo, and I'll throw in another name.
Well, go ahead.
With the coach, Brian Flores. How good a team could this have been?
I would say they'd probably be about 7 and 8, contending, pushing in the conversation.
What's wrong with that?
There's not. Well, we saw it. It was what we had for a decade, and it wasn't good enough.
Well, what if you make smart decisions? You get a good coaching staff in there. You make smart personnel decisions, and you build on that.
Yes.
What if you do that? I mean, I know that's revolutionary, but what if they tried that idea rather than let's rip it down to the very foundation?
Yes.
Well, there's not
well,
even a foundation.
That's the only thing we have never done in this decade.
Be smart.
No.
Oh,
Other than that,
yeah. All right.
Tear it down to the foundation. And I hear where you're coming from, because with those players mentioned, Juwan James would have needed a $50 million contract. Laramie Tunsil was...
You couldn't have kept them all.
You're not going to... Now that we know that we're drafting late 20s for Laramie Tunsil, probably 2 straight years, it's two late round selections, was it really worth it? I don't know. Robert Quinn is having a resurrection season.
Come on, he wasn't doing it here. And I get moving on from Tannehill.
Yes.
In year 8, everybody was saying, okay, and be happy for him.
I am happy for
But at the same time, wonder, okay, what went wrong? Why are they doing that here?
Here's what I will say about the Tannehill resurgence. I think that Tennessee team is custom made for him. I think that market is perfect for him. There's no pressure in that market. There's pressure
in every market.
But I will say, if he was playing on this Dolphins team, with this Dolphins offensive line, with this Dolphins running game, with this Dolphins defense, they probably would have 4 wins.
Well,
because he still can't avoid pressure. He's still been sacked a ridiculous amount of times in Tennessee.
Here's the thing. Here's what I never understood. 2016 power running game, one with Tannehill making throws, but not relying on him 100%. good defense. That's what Tennessee is, a better version of the 2016 Dolphins. They have Derrick Henry running. They have a good decent offensive line with some problems, but they have a good defense, good solid defense. That's a good, like you said, it's custom built from. Why didn't the Dolphins? Instead, you get Adam Gase. I don't like to run the ball. I'll pass the ball. I mean, it was a bad fit here.
Adam Gase is allergic to running the football. He just is.
That's why he's going to ruin Sam Darnold. That's why Sam Darnold needs help, and he's not getting it.
I think that I'm not saying that this would have been a better team, because I think Ryan Fitzpatrick, to me, is a better leader for this team. And let me give you a reason why.
He's a better leader, but come on.
Yeah, we know Tannehill's not a leader. Ryan Fitzpatrick, last week after the game, Patrick Laird, he's got family in town. He had an okay game, but now you're the starting running back. He had family in town. I go to him, I say, hey, Patrick, we want to talk to you. He's like, I don't know if I could talk. I got family waiting, and we only got a certain amount of time.
Wait, an undrafted rookie is putting one over on you. That is ridiculous.
And you
be
know,
a pro.
And you know who stepped to him and gave him the be a pro speech?
I'm guessing it's Fitzpatrick, and that's why everybody loves Fitzpatrick, right?
Here's how much I appreciate. He reminds me so much of Chad Pennington in terms of the leadership, the Pied Piper, the moxie. Go and you see, it's like you see him planting seeds in different guys, and you watch them grow. And the Isaiah Ford, he didn't have to volunteer that information. Isaiah Ford was out there directing routes for other players, allowing Ryan Fitzpatrick to read the defense. The offensive coordinator said Isaiah Ford was the guy telling these young receivers who'd just been here 5 days what routes that they need to run. And it's just...
I get that. Everybody, look, I wrote a column. Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's showing you how to survive and thrive in an awful season, right? Mm-hmm. He's a great example for that.
Losses and all, he enjoys every moment of this.
Yes, but if we're building an actual winning team, he's not going to be your quarterback. And
he's going to be on my team.
Okay, he's your backup quarterback. I agree.
I want him here to mentor whoever is the quarterback.
He'll be perfect in that role. He will be perfect in that role.
I need him
but
here.
the question becomes, are they going to get that quarterback this year?
Yeah, that's a whole different question. Let's get to the next question, who comes from Daddy of the Sky, who asks, did the Dolphins make a mistake of moving on from Ryan Tannehill, Dave?
I love that, Daddy of the Sky.
I
got to come up with a name like that for my handle.
It's Groundhog's Day all over again.
Groundhog Day. All right, no, they didn't make a mistake. And look, year 8, we all, at this time last year, were saying, it's not working. It's time to move on. Now, as you look at it, what's the lesson learned? Well, it wasn't working because it's working in Tennessee. They have the pieces for him, a quarterback. Adam Gase and before him Joe Philbin to a lesser degree, but still neither of them provided what Tannehill really needed, which was an offense in which plays to his talents. You know, and Gase wants Peyton Manning on every team, where you throw the ball, wing it all around, and that's how he's going to win. Well, how many Peyton Mannings are in the Hall of Fame? You know, that's.
I know that Tannehill, and I'm proud of him. I have nothing against Tannehill. I just know he wasn't leading you to a championship. Now, hopefully maybe he can prove me wrong with Tennessee. I know Tennessee, even if they do make it to the playoffs, they're going to be out in the first round. That's just because Tannehill doesn't have that presence.
Don't put that on Tannehill. He's leading them to 6-1. He's leading the league in passer rating, and you're going to take a shot that he doesn't lead them to the Super Bowl?
He is at his core. He buckles to pressure, literally and figuratively.
What pressure games did he have here?
Oh, too many. Goddamn many.
But that's a difference between. Yes, it was time to move on from him. I think we can all agree with that. The question for the Dolphins is where are you leading?
Yeah, where are you going? Where are you going?
Alex Brewer has a good one, Omar. Will Tannehill being 6-1 as a Titan, does that lend credence to the argument that the Dolphins' main problem has been coaching all along? And I think you understand my answer to this one.
I think that you did not fundamentally build the right team around him. Not to say that even if you had built the right team around him, you would have won more than 10 games or dethroned the Patriots or be further than the Buffalo Bills right now. And to me, that's the goal I have for this franchise and organization. Let's get past the Buffalo Bills.
How about, here's the goal.
Yeah.
Make smart moves. Build a smart team around your quarterback. Okay, and eventually you do. You know, we always hear trust the process, trust the process. The process isn't let's get better than Buffalo. The process is let's make smart moves.
We've been doing this for so long.
But they
Dave.
haven't made smart
I
moves,
know.
Omar.
So why
How many
would I
years?
expect them to make smart moves now? Like,
Because it's a new regime. I mean, that's the
Chris Kerr's been here for 20 years.
I'm with you. I don't disagree.
What one hope is, you know, the people surrounding him, they're accomplished, they're veterans, they're well respected. Brian Flores, I think he's done an adequate job. Notice I said the word adequate. I know that's going to get some Dolphin fans in their panties in a bunch. He's done an adequate job as a coach. He has a background in talent evaluation. Maybe it makes a difference. Let's hope. Yeah.
Chris says our next question. What would be better for Miami in the first round? Joe Burrow with no picks because you traded all 3 first-rounders, or Tua and 2 of the first-rounders to use?
Here is my viewpoint on quarterbacks, and I've said this for year after year after year after year. I fundamentally believe this. This is the one rule that I do not compromise. Don't draft a quarterback if you don't love him. And if you do love him, there is no expense too steep to pay. So if you love Joe Burrow, yeah, offer up 3 first-round picks. Hell, offer up 4. Who cares?
I agree.
I'm with you. You love him. Now, if you love him, I like Joe Burrow. I don't love him. You know who I do love?
I know, but do you love this situation?
I do not love the situation, but I love the quarterback, and I am willing, able, and committed, without knowing the medical, to say I am willing to use my 4th or 5th pick. My first of my 3 first-round selections on the young stud Tua Tagovailoa.
Okay, but here's Chris Greer. Let's put ourselves in his chair for a second.
Yes, his chair.
2018 draft. Don't want Lamar Jackson because I'm afraid he's going to get hurt. Not that he has a injury history anywhere. I'm afraid he's going to get hurt. Now you're going to
I think also he had no belief that the coach that was coaching the team could coach him or wanted to coach him. Because that would have forced Adam Gase to completely change and alter and evolve his offense.
Well, I agree.
And Adam Gase is not willing to do that.
Well, either was Harbaugh initially.
No,
and then he wasn't.
He figured it out.
He figured it out. He's a lot better than Joe Flacco.
That's true coaching right there. The Harbaughs, they are good coaches.
So, but yeah, the question, I would, if you're that much in love with Burrow, go get him.
Yeah, okay.
And the other question, where's Tua going to go? And he'll go higher than probably I'm expecting now.
He's a top 10 selection. If the Dolphins want him, they're probably going to have to take him at 4, where they are now, or 5.
4, use something on 4 and trade up to somewhere with all your other picks.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't think you're going to get that. I think that the Chargers are going to take him.
You trade in front of the Chargers. That's what the Bills did to the Dolphins with Josh Allen. I mean that's happened, and Arizona did, thinking the Dolphins were going to take Josh Rosen, which they weren't. They did that too. You can trade up in front of teams.
All right, fine.
So we'll see. We got
time.
We got months to see that one.
We got a lot of time to discuss all those things.
Not much real games to talk about either.
There are teams that are rebuilding, and then there are teams that are pushing for a title. The Giants thought they were contending for the NFC East division. They thought, hey, we patched a lot of rosters. We've got Eli Manning. Hey, maybe he sucked for the last 2 years, but hey, this is going to be a great tour to finish out his career. And then the season fell out from underneath them. Saquon Barkley has battled ankle injuries. Daniel Jones right now is having a rough patch before he suffered his ankle injury. Which franchise, Dave, would you rather be? The New York Giants right now or the Miami Dolphins?
I would rather be the Giants right now.
Why is that?
Because they have a few foundational pieces to build around. And right now they're picking second in the draft. So they're going to get another one in Chase Young, I would assume, from Ohio State. So if you're asking me who would I rather be, absolutely, I'd rather be the Giants right now.
No, I think.
Now it comes down to what you think of Daniel Jones. I don't know enough about Daniel Jones. I'm not impressed.
I'm not a fan.
But I'm not saying he's awful
Here's my
either.
thing on the Giants. There's a possibility, and you know, the Miami Herald wrote a piece about how how beating the Giants and helping the Giant and then beating Cincinnati could help you get the quarterback you want because it could push the Giants up to number 1 and then the Bengals at number 2. And I'm thinking to myself, like, that's ridiculous.
That's not going to happen. First of all, but whatever. We're all playing these semantic games with the draft, right?
And the Giants would trade with the Dolphins. No, they weren't. Dave Gettleman has never traded a first-round pick. So it's not going to happen. And fundamentally, if I'm the Giants, and Joe Burrow is about to come win the Heisman, he's clean, he's polished, he's winning. Maybe even if he loses the national championship.
They're not going to take Joe Burrow.
Why wouldn't they?
No way.
Why wouldn't they?
Dave Gettleman just took Daniel Jones 6th overall in the draft.
Oh, so?
So they're going to
He can get Josh Rosen. He can get Josh Rosen. Why couldn't he?
Because it's the same. If the general manager is kicked out, I agree with you. Okay, and the
coach might be fired. They're having a horrible season, worse than the Dolphins, and the Dolphins intentionally are having a horrible season. So, somebody's got to pay for this.
That tells you how hard it is to be awful in the NFL. When those have torn it down so bad, and there are teams out there still worse than them.
Yeah,
that's really depressing.
It is really depressing that you are purposely this bad, and then there's 2 teams that didn't intend to be this bad.
You can't get worse.
Who are worse than you. That's sad, but it is the Dolphins' way. It is the Dolphins. John Flora asks, would Eli Manning starting be bad for Miami? As a veteran QB, shouldn't they be able to take advantage of the young secondary?
Eli Manning's awful. I mean, I can't believe we're arguing this. I get what you're saying. The Eli Manning, because everybody has the vision of the Eli Manning of the Super Bowl. Or years out, the great Eli Manning, but he's not that guy anymore. It's sort of like now, whether he's better right now than Daniel Jones on a bad ankle, I have no idea. I'm not, but if you're scared of Eli Manning, you got real problems.
I don't think Eli Manning is ready to call it a career, and I think that
I think the NFL's ready to call it a career on Eli Manning, though.
That is a possibility. Just sad, but it is a possibility. I think that if he starts up there in the Meadowlands, that could be his final home game.
You're right, and it could be emotional.
It could be, and that could be just what the Giants need to prop themselves up and beat the Dolphins, which
And you know what I say to that?
The Dolphins.
Go Giants!
Go Giants! Go on there.
It's mid-December. If you weren't on the tank before, this is the time. Look, even Pat Riley in 2007 at the end of the year. He said players are hurt. He said, "I'm tanking." And later, years later, he talked about it. So the last game of before the Dwayne Wade draft, he tanked in a game against Toronto. It's acceptable to have integrity and tank at this point in the year. The thing is, I don't know how the Dolphins tank any more than they are.
Yeah, they start players that come off the waiver wire. Like how bad can you actually be?
All right, Omar. Solomon Matola has the next one. Is Daniel Jones worse than Justin Herbert?
Very comparable quarterbacks. I would say to you that I probably would rather have Justin Herbert just from the standpoint he's got more height, he's got more polish to him as a quarterback. He probably hasn't been coached as well as Daniel Jones, but there's more upside to Justin Herbert. I wasn't a Daniel Jones fan, probably never going to be a Daniel Jones fan, and I see why people are intrigued by him, but that guy's not going to be special, and I don't believe that Justin Herbert's going to be special.
Well,
either.
I was going to say, that's going to be a question for the Dolphins in the draft is what do you think of Justin Herbert? He's going to be sitting there for them probably. At 5, 6, assuming that's
I've heard that they have a high opinion of him. Now, the question is, and I do believe, and I do have belief, I'm not saying I'm convicted, that this coaching staff believes they can coach up any quarterback, other than Josh Rosen.
So did Adam Gase.
Yeah.
And that is a recipe for disaster right there. I got to having watching the Dolphins for the last 20 years, and I remember talking to Pat Riley, getting back there. When the Lakers won all those championships, right? They have Magic and Worthy and Kareem and Michael Cooper. Go down the list. And Riley, this is the old Riley, not the Riley of the 80s, saying, I thought it was about me. I thought we were winning because of me. That's the NFL coach for you. They think It's all about them. You need that special quarterback.
You need talent.
You better find them.
You need talent. I'm not sure that we've got enough talent, and it's very sad to see how depleted this roster is. It's going to be a total rebuild. I'm talking 12 free agents, 14 draft picks.
And if they don't hit on this draft, and I mean hit better than anything they've done in recent years,
they got to get at least.
They're going down the abyss, because if a bad draft this year will set them back 3 years, because it'll take forever to rebuild.
The foundation has to be strong, and right now the foundation is not strong at all, which is a problem. JT Evans asks, how does Miami avoid 3 to 4 years of being in the basement like the New York Giants have experienced, which goes to
I think we just touched on it. You have 14 draft picks. You got to
7 of them. You're gonna hit on 7. You got to hit on 7. You're not gonna.
Well, what's hitting? Because
3-year starter.
A 3-year starter on a 2-12, 14 team? No, you need at least one Pro Bowl player to hit on a draft. You talk to GMs, they don't talk starters if they're being serious.
Your vision is one Pro Bowl player?
Oh, absolutely. Every draft. That's a good draft. It's not a good draft if you're getting starters. Come on, a starter on this Dolphin team, is that a good draft? They're picking guys off the street and starting them the next week.
A Pro Bowl player, Dave? That's lofty expectations. We haven't done that very often.
Well, and how have they done? How have they done?
Oh, Olivier Vernon.
How have they done? How's these drafts? You need to stack up a good draft after a good, and a good draft involves a Pro Bowl player. It doesn't involve 3 starters on a 14 team.
Everybody, you know who's going to make the Pro Bowl this year? Minka Fitzpatrick. You know,
and he should.
You know who's an elite player at his position, even though he's having some struggles this year? Laramie Tunsil. You got to just get solid guys. I think I cannot say that the bar is Pro Bowl players.
Oh, absolutely. For a good draft, when you have 14 picks, you better get one Pro Bowl player, Omar. That'd be an awful draft if you just get 3 starters out of 14 players.
I just want a respectable offensive defensive line out of this draft. just a respectable one. Just one that's just not a colossal disaster.
Take 14 guards and get one. Get one guard, Omar.
Give me 3 offensive linemen, 3 defensive linemen. I'll be happy. 6 of 14 picks on the trenches. Come on, do me that solid.
Okay, our final question comes from Mike Zwilling. What are the Dolphins' strengths and weaknesses against the Giants? We're going to talk about this game like
it matters.
It's of consequence.
I think the number one thing that you have to do is stop Saquon Barkley. Like, that is a legit threat. And you have been the worst team in the NFL in stopping the run all season. You're allowing a league-high 4.7 yards per carry. Any team can run the ball 2 times and they get a first down against you. So
something must be wrong with Barkley. His ankle still must be bothering, because you look at I looked at his game-by-game totals. It started first 2 games, both 100-yard games. I don't think he's hit it since.
I think it's also his offensive line. His offensive line is beat up. It's battered. It's not very good. You gotta learn from what the Giants have done, about how to not build an offensive line, because they've been in tragedy.
The Dolphins have a lot of lessons themselves.
Yeah. I mean,
they don't need to go out to look at
the Giants are the team where you say to yourself, you look around the landscape and you say, let's not do that. Let's not be that.
The Dolphins are that team, Omar.
No, this is intentional.
Oh, but I'm talking.
If they hadn't gutted it, we'd be at 7-9 again.
The Giants traditionally have been a really good franchise.
Yeah.
Blue chip franchise.
Mm-hmm.
They're going through something now that the Dolphins have been going through for 15 years.
True.
So, I mean, you want lessons, there's plenty right in your own building to learn from.
Yeah. Let's get to our predictions, Dave. I'll start first. As I mentioned before, I think this is Eli Manning's swan song. It's his farewell tour to the city of New York. He's going to wave and take pictures, have a 300-yard game. His players are going to carry him off the field, and hopefully it's going to be a 24-21 New York Giants victory. But
we're right on the same button. I have 24-23, and just from the fact that it's a home game for the Giants, and you're right, it could be an emotional game, and Eli got the rust off in Philadelphia a little from sitting on the bench all season. So, but let's face it, this is 2 awful teams. Let's not talk about this like it's we normally do.
You know what's going to happen? You know what's going to happen? This is going to be the game the Dolphins win, and you know why? because we haven't had a "that's so Dolphins" moment yet. when you need to lose,
We have, because they started 0-7, and then they went on a 2-game win streak. That was so Dolphins, right?
Yeah, but we haven't finished it off.
We're due for another
we
one.
haven't finished it off. We're gonna be picking.
So are you want to change your pick, Omar?
No. I'm being optimistic and hopeful and wishful. What I think should
Back
happen.
on the tank.
What I want. I guess I am back on the tank. I can't leave the tank. But I've been so on and off the tank. But last week, dropping to 9th scared me.
It should.
And even if I don't want to use the first round pick on Tua, I'll be in position to pick the best offensive tackle or the best wide receiver in this draft.
As I've said on this line for weeks, all that pain and suffering for an offensive tackle from Georgia, Iowa.
Georgia or Iowa, yeah, pretty much. That's what it's come to. Well, thank you for watching Sun Sentinels, X's and Omar. We appreciate you joining the show every Wednesday at noon, and later today, probably around 5 o'clock, we'll have all 3 segments of the show up posted, and we'll be sharing them. If you want to find X's and Omar, just hashtag XOMar, and you'll see it. Thanks for watching.